took me like 10 minutes to get ready for this video because I'm trying so hard not to laugh. Okay, so Manny Pacquiao got knocked out viciously. I can hear Smokey in my head. You got knocked the fuck out, man. Oh, man. Okay, so I was on the borderline with this fight. I didn't know if Marquez was going to get hit his old age, or if he hadn't, then he would have the advantage of being a counter puncher against somebody who basically fights the same way every single time, and having done that 3 times already. Um, you don't know when it's going to happen, but eventually it's going to happen. Just like you saw that huge knockout against Sergio Martinez and Paul Williams, where you saw a counterpuncher in the rematch. They go for the punch that they know is going to be devastating, and they put everything into it. What I want everybody to take away from this are the misconceptions that people have who don't fight. When people talk about power, I kept telling people, in my opinion, that I felt that somebody like Mayweather hits a little bit harder than Pacquiao. But then I would always say that that does not matter. You know, I feel like Cotto hits harder than both Pacquiao, Mayweather, you know, but it doesn't matter. When it comes to the punch that is devastating, it is most devastating when you least expect it, when you don't see it, when you're set up well with it, when you're hit in a rhythm. Okay, the first knockdown, Marquez, he set it up with a left hook to the body that he'd been throwing in the beginning of the fight. A counterpuncher, and I know this because I'm a counterpuncher. I'm too much of a counterpuncher. I need to expand my fighting game. A counterpuncher will test things out to see how you react to it, and based off of how you react, they find a punch. Pacquiao, when he gets hit with the left hook, drops his hands, or he backs away and drops his hands. Marquez, when he threw that, he didn't even care. He didn't even care about landing the left hook. He just wanted him to drop the hand or create an angle so that you know, Marquez could loop with it. You know, to be honest with you, he probably threw a left hook to the body. I have to rewatch the fight, but he probably threw a left hook to the body, and maybe threw out a right hand to the front of the face to get Pacquiao to pull away with his right hand in front. No, excuse me, left hand in front, so that he can go around. A counterpuncher, the epitome of the philosophy, is to get you to react to something, get you to fall into a pattern, so that they can put all their torque into a specific punch. My favorite punch, the punch that he knocks him out with, is a punch. It's so funny. Fundamentals. From the very first time I started boxing with my trainer that I have, I remember for some reason, everybody I started off sparring was southpaw. Like I had more southpaw sparring partners than I had right hand. And one thing that's annoying about fighting southpaws when you're a right-handed fighter is that your jabs bump each other. Your left jab, their right-hand jab. And immediately, even before I formed an identity as a counterpuncher, I knew to let that right jab come, slip, and throw a right hand. And at the same time, I had to be careful because they can do the same thing with my left jab and hit the left hand. Pacquiao, and I'm sorry to bring it up, but this is why I could never ever pick Pacquiao to win over Mayweather, is because he has fundamental flaws that you would only see, well, that you too often see at the amateur level. When you're fighting a conventional fighter near southpaw, or vice versa, your power hand can't be right here. I mean, if you see a hook coming, yes, but in general, it should be in front of your face, in front of your chin. From experience, like just from the beginning, I don't even know how he does that. I guess Pacquiao's so fast that he uses foot movement, but to get out the way. But when it comes to timing, it doesn't matter how fast you are, somebody's gonna catch you. It's scary. To me, it's scary to be fighting somebody who's southpaw personally and not having my right hand by my chin while I'm jabbing. This, having your hand down or hand onto the side of your head while you're jabbing against somebody of the opposite hand, leaves you very vulnerable to their straight hand. Especially when you're stepping into it and not backing up into it. Even, when you're backing up, you might be able to get away with it. But when you're stepping into it, it's just scary. Like, it's a very vulnerable feeling. But yeah, I mean, again, like, I'm trying not to, I've had tons of debates on YouTube for a few years, and it all comes down to the things that I've been saying over and over again. When it comes to punching power, these attributes that you see on fight night, where people just live or die by them, they don't really mean anything. Punching is really a matter of technique and timing. If you have those things, you're dangerous. Essentially, you want to be a dangerous puncher. Forget about punching power, because it's so objective, and it's so it relies on so many different things. If there's some kind of device where you can measure punching power, you'd be surprised who'd be at the top of that list. It may not be any of the stars, or only a select few of stars that you know. But when it comes to the effective punches, the ones that do damage, believe me, it's the ones that are set up correctly. If you watch Mayweather's fight against Ortiz, he uses that counter punch that Marquez used, and this is what's so brilliant about Mayweather. What took Marquez maybe 3 or 4 fights, because to be honest with you, Marquez used that particular counter in other fights, but it's just a matter of catching him and how much he put into it. He caught him right on the chin with that punch, and again, Pacquiao didn't see it coming. Mayweather's bread and butter is one of those punches. He sees the right jab coming, he steps to the left, and throws the right. I've seen this guy do it when he was coming up in his first pro fights when they started matching up with southpaws. He did it against Victor Ortiz. I want you to notice the part where Victor Ortiz is throwing jabs like an idiot. Ha! 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 Floyd, about third or fourth jab, he stares at him, slits the jab, throws the right hand over it. You see Victor Ortiz's right jab go right over Floyd's shoulder. The same exact punch. These technical adjustments by Mayweather would have been figured out so fast. I have to talk about it because the fight's not going to happen now. I left a post on Facebook that said the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight lies within Marquez's hands. It's true, it did. What would have happened between Pacquiao and Mayweather would be, Mayweather would notice these things. He would notice that when Pacquiao pulls away, he keeps his left hand, more in front of his face as opposed to the side when backing up. He was throwing that looping right hook against Cotto. He would have probably done the same thing that Marquez, did in that third or second round when he knocked him down. The straight right counter. Floyd loves to counter with the right hand. He loves to counter against southpaws when they throw the right jab. Pacquiao, he would have noticed this immediately. Okay, the body punches, the fact that Mayweather can fight so much better on the inside, the jab factor, so many different things. It was never a question to me who would win that fight. And as far as, well, why didn't he fight him? The truth is, as much as people don't like Carcino, who typically, are, well, I guess a lot of people, but primarily Pacquiao fans, he tells the truth. Pacquiao was never in a position to offer money, and as much money, you can compare popularity, but it doesn't simulate into money. 45-55, Pacquiao, looking at how he was today and what kind of a fighter he is compared to Mayweather, or how he would perform against Mayweather, is not a fighter that deserves 45% of the cut. He's not on that level. There is no doubt in my mind that Mayweather would have made him look just as ordinary as Baldemir, just as ordinary as Cotto. While Cotto may have been competitive, it's still one-sided. Pacquiao as great, and while people debate, there's been no doubt that he's one of the top 100 all time. Some people say 50, at the bottom of that 50, regardless. when it comes to Mayweather, I would like him to have more feathers in his cap and fight everybody. But when it comes down to the people who he's claimed to have ducked, to me, it's never mattered. I've never told myself like, oh, well, he would have lost to this person, or oh, he probably would have lost to this person. Um, it just never, it doesn't seem to matter. Uh, Unfortunately, this era doesn't provide the same boxers it did in the 80s, or even the early 90s when you had Pee Wee and Cesar Chavez. It's like a bull rider who gets a good bull, but not that prize bull that you want that would give you the most challenging ride to impress the judges. So where does Pacquiao go from here? Well, he's probably gonna have to. I don't know. I mean, he can. I guess I don't. I don't think anybody wants to see him as Bradley because I don't think that he can knock out Bradley, and I don't think Bradley can knock him out. And I think Bradley's gonna have to try to box him. Um, and I think maybe he could fight Marquez a fifth time. I don't know. Somebody would get five. But the truth is, Marquez has to get old at some point. And I'm not gonna lie. What was it like the what was it fifth round? No, fourth round, fifth maybe fifth round. Marquez, yo, he I can't believe it. I have so much respect for this guy. He's always been one of my favorite fighters. But when he was hurt, I was thinking to myself like, oh, if you don't tie up. But he understood that he didn't have anything to lose really. Like if you get knocked out, because he couldn't afford with these judges, he couldn't tie up. He had to fight back. He had to look for the counterpunch. He did everything he could to just make sure he fought aggressively. Uh, and Pacquiao could have got him out of there. And when these two fight, you can tell they still complement each other in some way because Marquez, you know, because of his stature, if he was a taller fighter, that jerky shit wouldn't work because he just controlled him with a jab. But because Pacquiao has longer arms, it forces him to fight at a different distance, and you have to see these two go in each other's spatial area with footwork. It makes things harder. Uh, so I think Marquez gets older. Pacquiao could still possibly get him out of there. But again, you just don't know because you still face that danger of Marquez super duper knows what punches it takes to knock this dude cold. Okay, it's gonna be a right hand. Next time it might be a left hook. Marquez may have saw something in that fight that I could have hit him pretty hard with the left hook too. You just don't know. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say. I still have Andre Ward as my pound for pound best right now. Uh, or pound for pound king. I still think Mayweather is the best fighter in the sport and has been for a while. Uh, we'll see what he does. I think he's gonna fight Canelo. Uh, well, maybe I'll say that for a different video. But let me just say that I don't think that's an easy fight at all. But anyway, Joe Clem 15 signing out. And oh my God, that was knocked out for your ass right there, man. Man, I'm sorry. It's just I know some people are so sad about that. I mean, it's funny to me. Like if that happened to anybody, it'd be funny. Like maybe it was my favorite fighter, and if he got knocked out like that, I still laugh because it's just funny. Like, oh man, he ate that shit. Like, gosh, the first one was funny too. I thought his head blew off. I was like, oh man, did he trip? And then you saw replays like, oh hell no, he did not trip. He sat his ass down on the ground and was like, oh man, yeah, punching power. I hate when people say that he has more power. Okay, but how good of timing does he have? How well does he set up his punches? Does he have a jab to go with it? Can he follow up? How accurate is he? Power. What's more important, that or accuracy and timing? Oh, and by the way, statistically, who's the most accurate fighter of all time? I won't say his name.